Hey, hey. So, we are here at the finale of the pre-3 extravaganza. We watched Microsoft start things off with a whimper. We saw Sony take the stage and dominate in the beginning of the next gen systems. And we saw Nintendo show a strong lineup for the Nintendo Wii U and for that year and upcoming year of games. But we have one more conference to watch. And like I said, this is one I'm not looking forward to. It's a showing that made me very sad because it's from a company I really do enjoy, and it's a showing that still gets brought up. It's probably their worst conference to date. I still remember watching it live and being very embarrassed and cringing and walking out. So it's one that is definitely not well regarded in their sense. It definitely stuck with them for a while. But today's conference I'm watching is the Nintendo 2008 press conference. This conference it's got a lot of stuff in it. It's got Wii Music. It's got executive person on stage. It's like, get Reggie out on there. That's all you need. Get Reggie, get Bill out there if you need to. Have Wada come out and say something. Have Miyamoto come out and do something cool. That's all you need for a Nintendo conference. But they went in a weird direction with this one. And I don't know. Maybe the game lineup will be good because I really forgot. Like, it's 2008, so I have to remember what really at this point was like Wii. So this will be a pretty interesting one. I've not watched this showing in a long since it aired. So similar to kind of the stuff from the previous ones, I've not watched this conference since it originally aired, and I don't remember much. I remember the memes and jokes out of it, but I don't remember as a whole the games and everything. So let's not waste any time whatsoever. Let's go. Let's get into it. This sounds really familiar. This has to be like some royalty-free song, because I've heard this in a show. It wasn't a good show, but I heard it on something. It's really gonna bother me. What is it from? People love the Nintendo Wii. They can't get enough of it. Whoa! Yeah! And continuing on, like, hey, Super Paper Mario, I saw that for a second. Yeah, that was a good game. Despite what some people say, like, Super Paper Mario is a good game. It got a lot of hate because it really strayed away from that RPG thing, but that was a good game. Wii Fit. Still never played. Continuing on what I said in my previous one, I've never played Wii Fit. At some point, I will give it a try. I will step on the board. Starting it off really sappy. People love Nintendo. We promise to keep the world smiling.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Nintendo of America, Cammie Dunaway.
Corny music. It's like the music you hear at the end of a sitcom when like things are going great. Max decided to go back home.
Well, as you can see, my name is not Reggie.
Yeah.
But these days, I do have a lot in common with my boss. We're both having a lot of fun. I mean, how can you not be happy when your job every day is to get up and think about video games? In fact, just like the people you saw in the opening video,
because she only was here for this one right here.
Now, of course,
so I'm curious,
mom,
like
it helps.
What was like
does
Nintendo. Reggie have a cold or?
As my son Davis said in my Mother's Day card this year, Mom, I love you more than anything, and not just because you bring me all the video games. Now, how could that not put a smile on my face? I can also testify that playing video games is probably a safer way to impress your kids than some other things I've tried.
She about to start
Now,
rapping.
for example, here I am at Whistler
Yo.
this winter, trying out snowboarding. And I thought
Oh
that
yeah, they
made
do
me a
Shaun
really
White.
Cool
I
mom.
forgot Shaun White comes out and they do a demo and it's
At least
painful.
until the last run of the day, when through some absolutely freak occurrence, certainly nothing to do with my lack of coordination, the fates pushed me right off my board and I landed with full body weight right on my left wrist.
No way.
Short story, the ground won, my wrist lost. And I can tell you,
This is a great conference already.
Ride down the mountain when you're being pulled by the ski patrol.
I don't need games when I have
What
stuff
I
like
discovered
this.
that day is that snowboarding is really a lot harder than it looks. But the fact is,
I have
I
someone to
don't
help
like
me.
a smile taken off my face for anything. And I also really don't like giving up. So I decided that as a snowboarder, all I really needed was a little help from a friend. A really
So corny.
talented friend.
See, Nintendo
And I'm
isn't the
smiling
company to
again
do
today
stuff like this.
Because I think I've found the perfect
This is like a Microsoft
answer.
thing or EA of like, we're gonna bring out this professional like sports person. They're the ones to bring out Tony Hawk. It's like, hey, I love Tony Hawk. You know, Shaun White's pretty cool too, but it's like, don't bring him on stage for E3. Oh boy.
I'll make the next one.
I remember at the time I was just like, I really didn't like the balance board. I was like, I don't know, this accessory like, it didn't like. It reminded me of that
Ladies
terrible
and gentlemen,
NES
please
controller,
help
the
me in
Rollin' Rocker. That's what it
welcoming the
reminded me
gold
of back then at
medalist
the
in the
time.
men's half pipe at the 2006 Torino Olympics, Mr. Shaun White.
How are you?
Oh, Shaun, it looked like you were having a blast.
Yeah,
Sorry
I'm
about
having
that
fun.
fall.
I know.
huh?
I was warming up.
Oh, okay. Now, I understand from the guys at UB that they developed this game from the ground up to really take advantage of the new balance board from
That's
Wii.
right, Kathy.
How'd it
Yeah, I
feel?
mean, you know, once we put the board involved, it just enhances the gameplay. I mean, for me, it's so.
When did Tony
unbelievable
Hawk
because when
Ride
I'm
come
actually
out?
on
Like,
my
this is like the
snowboard, I
same
lean
thing.
forward to go faster.
Yeah.
And just like on the game, you go faster when you tuck and all your spins, and it's really cool.
Oh, it looks
I
great.
really do not
Now,
miss
what
this
other kind of
age of
input
like the
did you
motion
give the team
control
to
stuff. Like
really
the
capture
Wii
snowboarding?
controller
I mean, a lot
itself
of
was
stuff for
great,
me was just kinda
revolutionary.
describing what
Pun-
it's
no
like
pun
for me, 'cause
intended.
When I'm up in the air,
But,
I see a totally different
like,
view
I don't know, there's something
than
about
everybody
like
else
the,
gets to see. So I had
because I
that
was like, man, I
input
did this
and
on
just find out
iToy
more
back
about
in
how the
2003.
mods should look and
Like,
how it's fun.
I did the
Well,
thing
I've
of like
also
moving
been
my head to
told
left and
that
right,
pretty
my
much
body.
Anybody can just jump
it's
on the
like,
board
I don't
and
know.
go.
I
I don't know if you heard my opening, but
I heard.
I'd love to give it a try.
You can bring it on. All
All
right.
right.
Yeah, this is when she gets on
How many
stage.
times in my life am I going to be able to get pointers
Oh, you're
from
right.
Shaun White?
I'll give you some tips.
Okay,
She gets on
let's see. Let's
stage.
get
Is
my
like,
board
all right,
going here.
now it's time for me to play.
Okay, yep.
I think this round.
What event should we try, do you think?
Let's do the half pipe.
Oh, man, that's your event, right? I've never done
Oh,
this.
you are me right now.
Okay. Oh, I'm you. Okay,
Wait,
I'll try to do
what?
so.
Look at the beginning of this showing.
That's
I'm pretty
mean,
far.
just the view
We're not that
from-
far in.
They're so
This
cool.
is not a good show.
All right, make me look good now.
Oh yeah.
I should get some lessons from you.
It's like Nintendo usually opens up with like gangbusters, and like we're opening up with Shaun White
You
snowboarding.
got it. There you go. Just aim down the wall. There you go.
I'm just like the song.
The more you go down the
the
wall,
song
the
doesn't help
faster you go, and the
either.
bigger you go out. It's just like for me in real life. Yeah, that was tasty.
The faces you make.
Hell yeah. Nice run. That's all right. Done.
All right. Woo.
Yeah.
That's not bad. 1,000 points. All right, I didn't hurt my wrist. Well, Shaun, thank you so
What?
much. It was great
Thanks
fun.
for
Really
having me.
appreciate you
I didn't
being
hurt my
here.
wrist. What?
See you guys.
Man, when did Tony?
Now, all of you can have
Like,
as much
you know
fun
what?
as
My
Dungeons
joke was
had,
right. Tony Hawk
making
Ride
your
came
own
out a
runs
year
down
after
when
this.
game arrives,
Like, Tony Hawk Ride came out in
exclusively for
2009.
Wii by year end.
So
Now, if
yeah, Tony Hawk was
everyone would
like,
please
man,
welcome
Sean,
me
I saw
in
Sean White on
joining
stage.
Nintendo's global
I'm making my
president,
own balance
Mr.
board.
Satoru Iwata.
Hey. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Cami and Sean. And good morning. I think everyone recognizes that a big change, actually a true paradigm shift, has taken place in the global game market.
This is when they talk about the vitality sensor.
5 years ago,
I wonder if this is the conference.
in May 2003, I addressed E3 for the first time as a president of Nintendo. I still vividly recall
I think that showing
that
still
day.
on E3 maybe.
Because I knew almost everyone attending held a pessimistic view about Nintendo's future. That period was not enjoyable.
It's pretty crazy that people would think,
But
oh, Nintendo
I knew
doesn't
that
have anything coming. Like
people were just
GameCube.
using
Like,
what
that's
seems
crazy
to
that
be a
people could look at the
common sense view
GameCube back
of
then and
the
be
video
like,
game
this is
market.
Nintendo's failure. Like,
I must admit that even
Like,
Nintendo
dang.
employees could not have imagined that 5 years later, the market would have responded so quickly that we could be selling millions of bathroom scales around the world.
oh, you,
When a true paradigm shift occurs, common sense doesn't seem to make as much sense anymore. And I believe that's what happened in video games. Today, I'd like to spend a few minutes to discuss what has really changed in this new paradigm.
new paradigm.
First, we are now selling games which can sell steadily for a long period of time. In the past, it seemed impossible to expect any software to sell for 2 years or 3 years.
Oh yeah, this is that old E3.
But titles like Nintendo's
We
and
haven't
Lineage
we haven't
are
gotten into
doing just that.
that phase of E3 my watches, but
Also,
this is that stage in
Super
E3
Mario
where you're
Brothers
still seeing a lot of
and
stuff
Mario
like
Kart.
sales and figures and this game's making
to
this
use a
much,
Western term,
and like the market.
these products seems to be evergreens. This, I think,
Like there are
is
so
a
many E3
really
conferences
big
back, and
change.
they were all like that. Like, well, you know, marketing and
Second,
sales, we expect to see millions of sales
believe
in that. Like you very rarely see
it
that
is
now. Like
no
that's all
longer
behind
common sense
door,
that
closed door stuff now.
Players only seek new titles with more gorgeous-looking graphics and more sophisticated content. Of course, I myself am aware that great numbers of game players around the world do demand increasingly gorgeous games. And we at Nintendo continue to challenge ourselves to meet these needs. Today, I want to let you know that our internal team, which creates Mario games, and the one that make Zelda games, are both hard at work. They will bring new titles to Wii. On the other hand,
Okay, well,
it is
I
also
think
true
Galaxy
that
2 would be that new
games
Mario game we're
with new
talking about.
concepts like
Possibly
Wii
new
Sports
Super Mario
and
Brothers
Wii
Wii.
have received support
Has to be Skyward
from
Sword,
many
definitely.
customers for entirely different reasons. Small
Sports,
teams with small
Wii
budgets
Sports is a people
can
talk
capture
about
worldwide
smack about Wii
audience
Sports now. Wii Sports is a great game.
if they have a great idea.
It's like such a small package, but I played
And
Wii
this
Sports
is
like
both the challenge
hours
and the
of that.
opportunity of WiiWare.
oh
Third,
WiiWare.
certainly, the user base has expanded.
That really
look
that
at
still
this
stinks.
picture.
That WiiWare
Or
is just like
what
there's
about
like
this one?
hundreds of games that are just gone. Like
Before, our common sense view of the video game market was too limited. Now we have learned
Still mad
that
about it.
intuitive interface can help attract those who never considered video games before. And audience expansion brings a related effect. It has changed the seasonal nature of video game hardware sales. Game systems used to be purchased more often as a gift item during the holidays.
Might still
Today,
releases around November.
game hardware systems are more likely purchased by people for themselves at any time of the year.
Except when the Switch came out. It came out like
Recently,
March.
in Europe,
It's kind of crazy just to
consumers
see
are
a
buying
console
more than
launch like
200,000
around then.
Nintendo DS units a week, as if every week was
Yeah, this-
a holiday week.
I don't miss this era of E3, especially
Here
watching
in America,
that
players
Nintendo
have
Direct
bought
with that last
an
one.
average of
It just,
700,000 Wii systems. Over
It
the
it
last
definitely is
3
just
months,
really
a
snappy and
level
just gets to the
typically not
point. And
seen outside of November
Like,
and
while it is
December.
great, but it's talking about Wii sales are
Finally,
great, and then people are buying
in a
Wii's and
very
DS's.
unexpected way,
They on that just
we are seeing a
this
new
is
form
still
of
back in
social
the old
interaction.
E3. Like that
Last
change
week,
was
I
perfect
said
of just
that
going, you know what,
we
we're
would
just gonna
like to
focus on the
destroy
games now. We're not gonna do
psychological
the
barriers
stats and
that
all this.
exist between gamers
Like Sony's
and
E3
non-gamers.
2006 conference is
Wii
exactly
Sports
that.
and Wii Play showed this was
It's like
possible.
80% just
But alone, they were not
graphs
enough
and
to
charts
prove general trend.
it's like boring.
Mario Kart Wii and Wii Fit created more of these conversations. But maybe the strongest evidence
Now I will say,
comes
I was about to say
with
something
Guitar
shocking. It's
Hero
like
3.
because they showed Wii Fit and they showed Mario Kart Wii,
While it is available on
and
many platforms,
I did not
The Wii
own
version
either of those
is
games. I
outside
played a lot of
all
Mario Kart
others.
Wii because my friend had it, and I'd always play when I'd go to his
at
house.
Nintendo,
But I never bought a copy
believe
for myself, and I still
there
am
is
like,
progress being
why
made
didn't I ever? Because
in
that was a good game.
destroying the psychological barrier.
Like, I don't know why.
But now, with a new paradigm, what can
I
we
need to buy that now.
expect
I need to get a
next?
copy of that.
Even if it is revolutionary, sooner or later, people will become tired of a new form of entertainment. This happens faster when others try to reproduce the initial change. Then, what seemed fresh inevitably will be lost. For all of us in the video game industry, there is danger in standing still. Common sense is not enough, but there are answers. Personally, I believe we must find more ways for players to feel engaged. Different ways for them to be enriched. Even these interactions we would not call games.
Oh, that's good.
And most of all, the overall experience from our products must be increased enthusiasm. Unfortunately,
And these
all
three
this is
E's
much easier to
equal
say than
E3. And he drops
So-
his mic.
Let me conclude by saying that we at Nintendo always challenge ourselves to be pioneer in forming new paradigms.
And you know what?
We seek fresh
Everything
surprises,
Iwata is saying right now,
and
like,
I hope
Pretty much
you
still
will
stands with
enjoy
Nintendo.
the
Like, they
ones
really do not just kind of go
we
with
have
what
for you today.
everything everybody else is doing
The
in the
first
industry.
one
They're always kind of doing their own
fits
little
with
thing.
a larger
Like,
social trend. We
like
all
sometimes
see.
that gamble works
with
out well, like with the
consumers
Nintendo
acting
Wii,
as
like it
creators.
worked out extremely well. But then
And then
sometimes you have
sharing
stuff
their
like the
wow.
Wii U, which maybe didn't work as well
Certainly,
in their favor.
We are not
And now you kind of
the
see it
only
again with the
ones
Switch, where it's
who
working
think along
very
these
well in their
lines.
favor. Where while
But
Sony and
we
Microsoft are
believe
going more towards like
Nintendo
graphic
can
horsepower
add
and like
something different,
all that,
engage
Nintendo's going
players
more for
in
like
new
the
ways.
experience of just
So
here you can take this console
thank you for your attention
on the go
this
with
morning.
you.
And
Take it from home.
please
It's
take
a
a
portable
moment to
home
consider
console. Like that is
how Mr.
that
Tatsuya
experience they
Eguchi
want, and I
is
kind of
bringing
appreciate that Nintendo will
creativity
go for some of the stuff
and
like that.
community together in a key holiday.
Because it's something at least fresh compared to the other two. Like it's their way of kind of standing out alongside Microsoft and Sony.
ゲームデザイナーになった
I became a game designer because ever since I was a child,
I love playing video games.
Hey, we're gonna see that this year.
The idea for Animal Crossing.
That new Animal Crossing, it's coming this E3. I know it. They're
communicate with each other.
They're waiting.
I wanted to create.
But some of these Animal Crossing fans need to cool down. They're like, it's been too long since an Animal Crossing game. It's like, what? Last one came out like 2010, like 2013, 14. Talk to the F-Zero fans. Talk to me. I've been waiting since 2003 for another F-Zero game. Like,
the town
like
is
it's coming.
where you live and do the things you
Gotta be
like.
patient.
There are no required goals, and the players are free to do things their own way.
This was a cool game.
I think the players really feel like the world is.
But I feel now
happening in
I
real time.
appreciate this game more. When I was younger playing this
Even
game,
when you are not
I liked
playing
it,
the
but it
game,
wasn't like
The
my favorite
animals in the
game.
world of Animal Crossing
I think I was just like, you know, you only play
up
for
in
like
the
10
morning
minutes and you stop.
and then go to bed at night.
But once I got Animal Crossing
You
on the
could
3DS,
really
that's
feel
when I was
like
like,
you are
oh, this
visiting a
is great. Like
realistic
now I can
world
go back to
with
this
a
one now, and I'm like, oh,
24-hour
this is
clock
really good.
year-round.
So that new Animal Crossing game on the Switch is gonna be great because like now I don't have to worry about that. I got it on the go, have it at home,
in the Wii version
and it'll
of
work
Animal
perfectly.
Crossing. There is an auction site where you can see items that are for sale. Of course, you can also put up your own items for sale. There is a Happy Room Academy where you can find out what other players are doing. You can visit the famous fashion designer Gracie at her
If
store.
this is an Animal Crossing game for remember there was that one on the
You
Wii.
can also go
Remember it
to
had that little
Harriet's beauty
speaker
salon,
voice chat
where
thing
you
that I
can
never got. And,
change
like,
your
I don't think
hairstyle,
Nintendo ever used for
or
anything
even
outside of
choose
this
to
game.
put on a mask
Or if
and
they
look
did, it was like
your
for like
name.
another game.
Of course,
Ugh.
the key to Animal Crossing is communication, and there are some exciting advances.
I don't want to be me.
You can write letters to other players
be a
and
villager.
attach pictures to them. You can send them not just to other towns, but to the Wii message board.
I wish I
or
had
to
Reggie
friends'
like send
cell
mail
phones
to.
and personal computers.
Email
But the
Reggie.
biggest
How's that
news
chair
is a
working out
special
for
new
you?
microphone option
Yeah, there it is.
called
There's that.
We Speak.
We speak.
It's not a singular headset, but a community microphone that lets every person
Like
in a room
I
talk
really
with
forgot what
another
other
room full
games
of players
supported that. I feel
anywhere
like
in
not
the
very
world.
many did.
Hey guys. Hello. Hey guys, what's up?
For example, for today's main event, we are having a fishing contest.
You guys are in major trouble.
You can catch different fish depending on the season.
Oh man, I'm out of practice.
I didn't know you were
You
practicing.
know, I was talking about this during the
Oh, this is terrible.
the Sony one with like Destiny
Waiting for it to bite.
and like the fake kind of voice chat.
Got it.
But in this,
That one's mine.
this feels more natural at least. Like I expect Nintendo fans like to be like, "Hey, what's up?
Really get a
Here we go,"
sense
and like
of
all
the
this. Like it sounds more
personality of
natural.
the player.
I think it's when it's like the first-person shooters
For
is where it
example,
sounds really
when you
unnatural.
go to someone's
It always comes
town,
off
you
really
can
fake. Like this
see
is like,
how
nah,
they
just
decorate their room.
it's like so. It seems like they're doing like a voice chat type thing. Nintendo's the people to do it right.
It's also fun to see how they have set up their town because it tells you what kind of person they are, and I think that's really fun.
And they
It
should
makes
really
me
include
happy
the
to hear stories of people who
those
are able
little
to talk with
emulated
their
games
friends,
back on Animal Crossing. I
or
remember the original
even
had
able
them.
to make new ones. Looking ahead, I want players to continue to be able to have the freedom to create their own worlds, to be able to communicate with others in a variety of ways,
Dear
and
Bones.
to share the world they have created, and to have a place where the players
Yeah, I mean,
can
it'll be interesting to
connect
see
with
what
each other.
this new Animal Crossing game is going to turn out to be. What stuff they're going to go with at least. They're going to keep kind of this kind of cool style. If
Ladies
they're going
and
to go for
gentlemen,
something a little different.
Please welcome the President and Chief Operating
It'll be
Officer
interesting
for
to see.
Nintendo of America, Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Reggie!
Good morning. When I last talked to you from an E3 stage, I closed by saying that we at Nintendo were pleased, but not close to being satisfied. with Animal Crossing on its way to Wii by the end of this year, complete with the Wii Speak option, of course we're pleased.
Now,
And
if
in
you'll
a larger
excuse me,
sense,
I got to get back
we're
to
even
Animal
more
Crossing.
pleased with our marketplace momentum.
So many meetings
After
with
all,
Reggie.
in May, according to the NPD data,
The only thing that sucks is this is not
lifetime
the
sales
showing
in the US
where he says
for
my
Wii
body is
hardware
ready. That was
reached
last year's
10 million
conference.
systems.
Like,
DS surpassed
I wish it
20
was
million.
that one.
And the sales of these two game devices
No, Reggie,
alone
no.
now combine to represent more than
Sales.
$5 billion at retail just in the US. But despite all this, we're no closer to being satisfied. That's because there are still tens of millions of people around the world ready to get into the game that we all love. And at the same time, there are millions of us veteran gamers hungry for what's next. At Nintendo, we want to fill both those needs.
Babies, the game.
Let me begin with a little marketplace perspective, and I promise I'll keep this short.
Yes, please.
Here are lifetime global hardware unit sales for the last
See, this is
iteration
why I
of
was
each
walking
major
out of this
platform.
conference.
The
'Cause it was
biggest
like,
bar
all right, you opened up
belongs to
with
Nintendo DS.
Shaun White
By the
snowboarding, that
end
little
of our
like,
current fiscal
embarrassing
year,
segment.
next March,
Then you move
we
on
expect
over
that
to
total DS
Iwata talking
worldwide
about like
sales
kind of like
will grow
Wii U
to
kind of
almost
sales and
100
different things and
million
like
systems.
how the market is with the Wii. And you have
Focusing
Animal
on
Crossing,
DS
which
here in
is like,
America,
okay, that's cool, and new Animal
annual
Crossing.
sales have
Then it
ramped
goes
up
right to Reggie
each
talking
year.
about DS sales.
Now,
It's like this.
Some
like
people
it-
still cling to previous
pretty boring.
expectations for product cycles. And
Like,
consequently
I almost
thought
want
that 2007
Kathy
would
to
be
come
the
back on
peak
stage
year
because that
for DS.
as embarrassing as it was
However,
at least
It
funny.
still represents better than 2 out
Unintentionally
of every 3 handhelds sold here in America. And so far in 2008, DS sales here in the US are running another 12% ahead of last year's record.
And they're still supporting the, not the
Hardware
DS,
sales
but
are
like
always driven
3DS.
by
Like it's
key
still got games coming
software
out for it,
franchises.
which that's just
And
that
this
handheld
spring,
lasts
that
a long
key
time, and the
franchise
DS lasted a
was
long time
Pokemon.
too. They really when it came to
Sales
their
of the
handhelds, they
companion
really supported them
Mystery
till like
Dungeon
the end.
series
Like
sold through more than 600,000
there were so many Game Boy Advance
copies
games that came
in
out
just
really
6
late, and I
weeks.
was like, man, they're still making games for this. The
grows
DS is out.
lifetime
So
total
it's like,
sales for
I
all
will respect
Pokemon
them. They will
titles
support a
to
handheld
180
till the end of
million.
time. Unlike Sony with the Vita,
The arrival of
where they're
games
just like,
Pokemon
we'll support it
Mystery
for like
Dungeon and Mario
year and a
and
half,
Sonic
and
at the
then
Olympic
we'll-
Games
we'll
have
just
pushed
leave it in
total
Japan.
DS software sales in America 29% ahead of last year. Now, later this week, we believe the June NPD data may show that the back and forth battle between Wii and DS as America's best-selling game system may have shifted for the moment back to
like
DS.
just a gang system.
In no small part,
The
it's
gangs
due to those
love
evergreen
Nintendo Wii.
titles Mr. Iwata mentioned.
The Crips, Wii, Bloods,
We began running
DS.
a TV campaign in May targeting females, featuring celebrity endorsements. Within weeks, unit sales for titles like
Wow.
the Brain Age games,
Carrie
Nintendogs,
Underwood plays
Super
DS?
Mario
I gotta go
Brothers
get
at
one
least
now.
Doubled. To repeat, there seems to be an
I had that
unlimited
Nintendogs
number
game.
of people out there just looking for a way
I
to
should
get
probably give it a
into
try some
our
point.
game. For Wii,
You see Mario
the
looks pretty
sales
good.
trajectory is climbing even steeper. This chart shows comparative system sales.
God, this
The blue bars
Reggie, you said you're gonna
represent
keep
the
it short.
first 12 months in the market,
it's pretty long.
and the yellow bars represent sales from year 1.
It's pretty
through
crazy.
month 19.
Look at PS2. Like PS2
It's
is
here,
PS2 is still
beyond the
gangbuster.
realm
Like,
of the early
you know what's
adopters,
crazy? There was a
where
PS2
Wii
game that came
demonstrates
out
how
in
its historic
2014.
sales pace is
Like
actually
PS2 was still getting
increasing.
supported all the way to
When
2014.
those
That
June
is
NPD
insane.
numbers are released on Thursday,
Like,
we will not be surprised if we
PS2
become
is just
the
ridiculous.
best-selling console in this generation in America. just
You know
as
what?
it already
We was.
has on
We-
a worldwide basis.
We was a huge
Now,
system.
you all know about the
Everybody
popularity
owned a
of
Wii. It didn't matter who you
hardware,
were. Somebody owned a
but
Wii in a
perhaps
household.
not as widely appreciated is the
At least
story
everyone
for
I
Wii
knew, everybody
software.
had one. Even if they
It's
weren't even
exactly
playing
the same.
games, like they had a Wii in there.
Again, no system has ever sold more games
PS3.
during its first 19
Look how small
months of
PS3
availability.
is.
And again, the
It took a long
sales
time for
advantage
PS3 to finally
after
start
year
making some
one
sales.
continues to grow. It's no secret that Nintendo internally approached game development for Wii on two different fronts. On one hand, we made sure we leveraged our well-known stable of stars early in the generation to satisfy and reassure veteran gamers. But at the same time, we also created new titles, beginning with Wii Sports and continuing with Wii Fit, that
Don't
made
put Wii
even
Fit next to it.
confirmed
Wii Sports is a good game.
non-gamers stand up and take notice. But now a new dynamic is emerging. Having passed a year and a half in the market, our creative third-party partners are finding success with Wii. To date, 19
Dang,
different
half of these people
third-party
don't
games on
Konami's
Wii
not
have
making
exceeded
games
sales
anymore.
of
EA's not
400,000
making
units
good
in
games
America
anymore.
alone. And those
19
titles come
third-party
from
games.
11 different publishers.
Yeah, Midway,
The wonderful thing about
LucasArts,
this trend
like
is that there are almost as
they're
many
gone.
strategies
Capcom's
on how to
kinda
attack
back.
Wii development as there are
Take-Two,
different
Majesco,
developers and
like-
publishers making those decisions. For example, you might ask if this is the platform that will be dominated by new kinds of casual games. Or is this the place to use the unique forms of Wii interface to freshen up even the most legendary IP? Or is this the ideal spot for new franchises with obvious core appeal that set new standards for a genre?
yeah, Splatoon.
Well,
Actually,
the correct
hey, you know,
answer is
Splatoon actually
all
was
of the
pretty
above.
great for in terms of like changing
The
some
Wii
stuff
library
up.
continues to grow
That was a great
far
new
faster
IP
than
there.
other current consoles.
I don't think ARMS was like
And there'll be
as
dozens
great
and dozens
as
of new
Splatoon
titles
was, but
arriving
Splatoon
in
was
the coming
definitely like
months.
Nintendo's like that
The
team
truth
needs to
is,
keep
there's
making
no
games for
way today
Nintendo.
we can give you even a quick glimpse of everything that's on its way. So instead, we've chosen to limit our preview to just 3 new games that take very different approaches to the
kinda
interface options.
I kind of want to see what those other
available
games were
on
now.
Wii. Take a look.
Like Reggie, I want to see. Oh yeah, I remember that little like thing. Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Skywalker is the Republic's only hope.
I love the latest Resident trailer. I always loved it because like you see the demos and they're always going all crazy like that, and they're going. They're always doing like that, and then you play the games and you just have to go just like that. Like Skyward, no, Twilight Princess. I was like that day one for like the first hour. I was fighting. I was going all into it like that, and then like after like maybe 2 hours later, I was just. I always find it funny when the demos are showing. It's just they're going real ham on the motion control front. And got Rayman Reading Rapids. I want a real Rayman game back. Like I would love to see Rayman 4 to some degree, like a 3D platformer Rayman game. Those rabbits, like they're gangbusters. Like they took over. I really wasn't a fan of them at all. Like, as good as that first Rayman Raiding Rabbids game was, I was just kind of done with them. And I'm still kind of surprised how good that Mario Raiding Rabbids game was. The Mario Kingdom Battle. Like, that game has no right to be as good as it is. That's fine crazy. World at War. I wouldn't play World at War on the Wii. even if it's like, oh, the shooting's better, but it's like, nah, that kind of game. I'm gonna go 360 PS3. Oh, and they had that little gun controller there too for it. I remember I bought that Link crossbow thing for it. I was like, oh, I want to try that out. But I still remember the maddest I ever got was that you can't use that gun peripheral right there with Resident Evil 4. I was like, why would you guys design this? Like, Resident Evil 4 is one of the best, one of the better ports. Like, it's crazy to think that one of the better ports of Resident Evil 4 out there is the Wii version. Like, it feels the best. Like, the shooting is so, like, fluid on that version. It's like Headshot City there. It's so easy.
As you can see,
and it's just crazy that they didn't, like,
is
give you the
mushrooming.
option to use that
But
controller
that's
because of how it's set
only
up.
half of our software story here at
Like,
E3.
it's just,
What
they
we've
really
just seen
screwed
are
up.
games that reside in your living room. But what about the games
Back.
that travel with you? Every year, portable games take a big
Oh.
bite of the total software pie.
No, I think I'm getting
What's
out of it,
driving
and they're
this
just
growth are new players.
they go back to it.
Who are they? Well, here's a giant clue.
It kind
In
of sucks too because like they said, like
2005,
we're only going to show 3 of these
30% of all
games
DS
here
recipients
from
were
our
female.
third-party
Well,
lineup.
recipients are
And
defined
that's
as
what they
those who
showed.
either bought a DS for themselves or
All right,
asked for
Star
and
Wars,
received
Clone
one as a
Wars,
gift.
Raving
By
Rabbids,
2006,
and
the percentage of female
Call of
players
Duty.
jumped
Like-
to 46%.
like show what Capcom was doing. They probably
And
had some
last
good
year,
stuff. Like when did
it
Tatsunoko
almost
versus
reached
Capcom come out?
exact
Like
parity with males.
I want to see.
The DS appeal is universal. And that appeal is apparent with our third-party hits as well. Activision reports that the current DS version of Guitar Hero on Tour
Oh, God, that
sold
game- ugh.
300,000 copies in America in just its first week. And now,
I could not get into
An
that
even
Guitar Hero
more
version. I was like-
imaginative
At this point, I was
interpretation
like,
of the
God, why do I want
franchise
to play on the DS?
called
Like, let me just
On
play
Tour Decades
on
is on
the
the way.
actual game with the guitar.
The
or
DS
in my
is
sense,
also the only
way to
gaming
play Guitar
dedicated
Hero is with the
platform
controller.
Where you'll find
I'm not joking. Like the
Will
controller
Wright's
is one of my
this year.
preferred ways of playing because it
We
changes
think
the whole
both
thing
of
up.
These titles deserve a
It's actually really
closer
fun
look.
playing it. Like I do recommend if you got Guitar Hero 1, 2, and 3, play it with a controller. It's definitely a different experience.
So this fall, we're going to be bringing
So
Guitar
awkwardly
Hero on
standing
Tour
behind a green
Decades,
screen.
and with it, brand new innovation to the platform. For the first time, players will be able to song share
Let's rip.
between versions of the game.
Song sharing is a feature that allows me to take my version of Guitar Hero on tour and meet up with a friend or a relative who has a different version of Guitar Hero on tour, like Guitar Hero on Tour Decades, and we can share our songs with each other.
The innovation of the guitar
pretty
grip,
nifty.
really allowed us to bring a tactile experience coupled with the touchscreen mechanics of strumming with a pick stylus.
But additionally, the DS has the microphone, the dual screen, its portable nature. All of these aspects add to the unique experience that you get on the Nintendo DS.
I just wasn't too big on that. Spore. Oh man, remember Spore?
And it's all about sort of evolving your creature
Oh.
in this world that you live in.
I remember
With the Nintendo version of
how much they were
it
going
is
in on
a
that game.
unique
They
and
like how
different
much hype was
design.
around
We
it.
focused more on the creature game.
Spore
for
is going to be
Nintendo
the
DS.
greatest game ever
One
made.
of the things that was important to us
You're
when
going
we
to be able
designed
to
the game
make
for
life
the Nintendo DS was
creatures.
to really hit on those core
And I remember everyone
elements that are
like,
really about Spore.
they
which is
should have
player
known what was going to
creativity
happen.
and
Like
that
if you
sharing.
give anybody
With the Nintendo DS, not
a
only
big
were we able
like
to
thing
sort
to
of take
create
advantage of the
something,
stylus, so we
they're
could
going to create the
this creature
most like
creator that's so
horrific,
easy and intuitive to use.
disgusting
You just
things
drive
possible.
parts
Like
from- and
they
the
should
parts
have
panel will
known
launch your
easily that was
creature
going to
and add
happen.
to
They
it.
shouldn't be
The
surprised.
other
Like
thing
wow, people
about
keep
Spore,
drawing dicks on
that
our monsters.
on the PC that we moved
It's like
over
you shouldn't have
to
given them the
DS
tools.
was the ability to share your creations. When you share your creatures with your friends,
Like, you give
those
4
creatures not only appear in
teenagers
your zoo, but they can also show up
a
in
marker.
The game. You can decide
They're-
to befriend
one of
them
them's
with
gonna
your
draw
own
a dick
creature. So
somewhere.
you kind of get your own little posse going with your friends' creatures, and it can really help you out in gameplay.
And I really
The
forgot
DS
that they even
is really
did Spore
attractive
on a
for
DS.
game
Like
designers and game makers because it gave the opportunity to
I've
open up and
forgotten
say,
all
hey,
about
we can
Spore.
design a little bit differently
Like, I remember
design
everyone
it
was
to
talking
really
about it, and then it
respond
came
to
out, and then it kind of just went.
Now, in addition to these great exclusives, I can add one more piece of launch news. The next invasion of Pokemon. the highly anticipated Pokemon Rangers Shadows of Almia will offload onto U.S. shores on November the 10th. To recap, another new Guitar Hero coming to DS.
I want a new Pokemon, though.
A custom Spore coming to DS. And new Pokemon 2. And make no mistake.
As good as Rangers
the
might be.
The appeal of DS extends to the core as well. We can announce today that a custom version of Grand Theft Auto called Chinatown Wars arrives on DS this winter.
This actually was a good game. That was a pretty good Grand Theft Auto game, though.
Set in a modern-day Liberty City, the game features a custom game engine, new characters, and the same free-ranging gameplay that GTA fans have come to expect. For some time now, Nintendo and our third-party partners have been using the DS to redefine the meaning of video game. And that spirit of invention and reinvention now also applies to the DS itself. Here's what I mean. Now, I'm one of the many people, probably like all you guys, who spend way too much time in airports. And much of that time is already spent on my DS. Currently, I'm playing Animal Crossing. So, what if DS and air travel came together in a different way? For example, when I land, why can't my DS provide information on where I can claim my luggage or the gate for my connecting flight? If I'm staying over, what about the nearest ATM or a Mexican restaurant? This is all being tested.
You got your GPS? No, I got my DS.
How about changing up your next visit to the old ballpark? Well, at Safeco Field in Seattle, fans are already using their DS to check the box scores of other live games, watch highlights, compete on trivia contests with other fans in the park. They're even using the DS touchscreen to order up that Seattle sushi favorite, the Ichi roll. Seriously, they really have that stuff in Seattle. Now, speaking of food.
Who's going to like a baseball game with the DS? And they're like looking at the screen the whole time?
That the DS could even earn a spot
the game. Someone just got a home run.
Well,
I got to see what's on this
for
other
some
game going
time
on.
now, in Japan, Cooking Navi has turned the DS
But also,
into
this is also that point in time. I have to also remember. This is that point in time where iPhones and like smartphones were still not very prevalent.
And when an English
like having
version
the internet and
arrives
everything else
here
like working
in
that
November,
flawlessly back then wasn't
timing
good.
for people like me looking for help with their holiday dinners. Trust me, I'm
Maybe back
even
then
worse
like,
at
I want to
cooking
take
than
my
I am
DS
at snowboarding.
to the
Now,
doctor
in many
game.
ways, the DS may be transforming itself from a great portable device for gamers into a natural companion for everyone. Reggie?
Cami just talked about looking at something very familiar, the Nintendo DS, with a fresh set of eyes. Let me build on that idea, literally.
Bill Trennan come
We all know
out.
what this is. And as you may have heard, we're about to redefine the Wii Remote thanks to this.
Motion Plus.
What this small accessory does.
When did they talk about?
Is make
Which
the Wii
conference
Remote
was it where they mentioned the
more
vitality
precise,
sensor?
more responsive.
And if you don't
more
know what that
intense.
was, the vitality sensor was
It's
this like
called
accessory
Wii
that
Motion
Nintendo
Plus.
was thinking of doing, where it was that you attach it to your finger like this and you'd play games,
Wii
and it could
Motion
tell your
Plus
heart rate. So like, I guess it's
renders
for a lot of like
every
health
slight
games and that.
shift
They're
of
gonna
your
like
wrist or
Wii Fit probably
arm
would work in some of the
into the
exercise
gameplay.
games. But the way they mentioned it
But
was
as-
that other games would
every
take
game player
note of it.
knows,
So you'd be
technical
playing, I guess, a
advances
horror
can be
game,
empty
and you'd have the
promises
vitality
without
sensor on,
outstanding
and if
software.
your heart rate starts to increase, the
So
game could start
today,
maybe throwing more
we're
stuff
going to
towards
show
you.
how this
So
worthy
it kind of would just be that,
successor to
that
the Wii
thing of,
Remote
okay, your heart rate's going up,
comes to
let's start
life
throwing more
using a
scares in,
more
or if
than
it's like a little
worthy
less,
successor
let's start
to
maybe
Wii
doing
Sports.
some subtle stuff to raise
Let
it
me
up.
introduce
So,
you to Wii
which
Sports
I was kind of
Resort.
all for the Wii vitality
is
center. We'll
literally
talk
a
about
day
it.
at the beach.
It's very kind of dumb
It
looking at
generates
it
fun in
too,
the
but
sun with a
when I heard
variety
that,
of
I was like, you know,
activities.
that
And
would
we're
be a
going
cool
to show
idea
you
for a horror
3 of
game to
them
take advantage of
right
that.
now on stage.
But it never came out.
Well, I have Cammy
So,
come out here along with Bill
We
Trinan
unfortunately
from our
do not
Treehouse
have
group to explain
that.
the action.
There's Bill
I
Trinan.
can tell you that there will be one Wii Motion Plus accessory and extended jacket packaged with every Wii Sports Resort. And of course, others will
I
be
hated
available
that
separately.
jacket.
So, Cammy,
I
what do
never
you
got that jacket.
Okay, Reggie, I have got probably
And
the cutest
actually, I did get
game
it, and I
that
threw
you
it
have
away.
ever seen.
I threw it in like
Meet my little puppy
I threw it in a
here,
drawer somewhere
Peach,
because I just did not
and we
want that.
are
It was
going
so
to play
bulky
Disc
and
Dog
it
together.
felt bad.
Right, now, before you do anything, Cammy, I think what we need to do is
I think
let
Bill
everybody
Trinan has
understand
not
here
aged. He looks
what
the
Wii Motion
same.
Plus is all about.
Like you watch some
Now, if you
old
guys are
E3
anything
conferences
me,
from
you
like back in
probably remember the
2000.
very
He's
first
still
time
there,
you
and
got
it's just
your
like,
hands on the
damn.
Wii remote, and that for me was a magical moment. And I
You're
want
aging
you all
like
to prepare
Sakurai.
yourselves to experience that same thrill again here at E3 this year. Now you'll notice that as Cammy is subtly rotating her wrist, that precise action is being reflected on screen in real time at the exact angles that she is moving. And as she moves her hand in front of her in space, it knows exactly where her hand is.
This is what the PlayStation
Wii
moves
Motion
need.
Plus
They need like a move
Okay, Cammy,
plus
you
for
don't
it to
even have to
actually
press a
work.
button.
Okay.
Just
And
swing
you know,
your arm to
it
throw
did
the
work
disc.
kind of
Okay,
alright
Peach,
though.
you ready?
Like the
Let's see how
Wii
you're
Motion
doing.
Plus
Okay,
for
let's
the
go.
games it did do.
Let me do a little.
Like I heard this game
Line up.
actually
was never very good at
was
this,
pretty good.
and,
I never played it because I got my Wii Motion Plus pretty late. And the only reason I got it really was because Skyward Sword required it. That was pretty much the only reason
remember,
why I went
Cammy, you
for
wanna
See,
Wii
it's
Motion
so
Plus.
precise that it's picking up my bad wrist action. Okay, let's try this again.
I know this conference.
Is that the good
Okay.
risk or the broken
That was
risk?
last year. We
Well,
talked about
it's-
Skyward Sword, and that's
Unfortunately, it was the good one.
so I won't reiterate what I said then. Go watch that pre E3.
Go!
We're talking about Nintendo 2010.
Very nice.
I go all in on Skyward Sword.
Oh, Reggie.
You know, Wii Motion
you
Plus,
gotta
it
admit,
wasn't
is
that bad.
the
It
most
worked well
adorable
for
game
me,
you've ever
at
seen?
least.
You know, it's kind of cute. It's
I might not have been
okay,
as
but
lucky.
I want to show the group something that's a little bit more my speed.
There you go, Reggie.
Now, this is what I'm talking about. Look at this.
Wow.
Oh.
You really like that throttle, don't you, Reggie?
They had this comment there like, we must not do
yes.
this again.
Oh.
I should give this a try. I know someone has a copy of this. I should like go
back on the
borrow it
course.
and play
Watch out
this
for the roller.
for like a GWC plays.
Well, I guess you're right, Reggie. That
I'm
really
laughing
is
at
more
them
your
looking
speed.
real ridiculous, but
You
it's
know,
like
guys like power stuff.
let
you
me
know?
actually play
Oh,
it. Maybe
you
then I'll be
guys,
looking
I-
ridiculous
I
too.
like the
Come on.
puppy.
I think the crowd is going to like
right?
being
Puppy.
on a you know
power cruise.
power cruiser a lot more than throwing discs at
You
this dog.
guys are all the same.
Oh God, this-
Obviously, we've got a little dispute here
conference
that I think needs
sucks.
some settling. And I think there's no better way to do that than with a little old-fashioned sword dueling. What do you say?
Hey,
let's
I'm
go
up
for it.
Bring
All
it on. Bring it
Bring
on.
it
What
on.
you'll be doing, okay? All right, let me get started here. Now you hold the Wii remote with both hands, right? Of course,
I'm
you
gonna
can
take you
chop
back to the
vertically.
past. James Rolfe doing up there
Okay.
on stage.
You can chop horizontally. You can
This is
chop
this
it
angry video game nerd
any
face.
angle you want. And in fact, you can block. And all of that is reflected in real time. And if you're really good,
I bet Miyamoto was watching this like,
You can
this
sharpen
would
the
work
pencil
pretty
as
well in
well.
a Zelda game.
okay?
This looks more my speed
I
too.
am
I
so
think.
ready. How often do you get to do this with your boss? No, wait a minute.
All the time.
Okay.
I
I
beat
gotta
my
get ready.
boss's
There you
ass
go.
last week.
Give me a minute.
You ready, Cammy?
I am so ready.
So now let's see who the true master is.
Looks so stupid. That's the one thing. Is like, especially like, I noticed it a lot in VR. It's one of those things of in VR with the headset and you have like the
wanna go again?
gloves.
Let's
You
go
feel
again.
badass. You're playing Skyrim. You're
You
like,
want a little more?
you're
Bring
doing this,
it
but then
on,
you actually see what
baby.
you look like outside of VR with a camera, and it looks like this. I remember I was laughing at the Kinect for that because like you look at the Kinect stuff and it's like You look really embarrassing doing this stuff. Like, I couldn't be playing with a window open. Because I'd look like I'm flailing my arms around all crazy.
Well, it looks like with one match each, we've got a bit of a draw, so we're going to have to let everybody decide which one they prefer on the show floor.
All right.
We may have just seen the birth of the Caminator. I don't know.
Reggie's trying to start something new, and it's like,
You know, what we've shown you today
The
is just a
Caminator.
small taste of Wii Sports Resort. If you stop to consider a summer vacation, other activities come to mind, and several of them will appear
Beating
in
your
Wii Sports
family.
Resort. But Wii Motion Plus represents a much broader opportunity. It's clear that many developers specializing in virtually every game genre are right now contemplating how to use Wii Motion Plus to further drive player immersion.
and I can't think of a lot of games
Obviously,
that
won't happen instantly.
utilize it too. I know
But when
Skyward
the
Sword
world's
used it and
best
required it,
game
but I
creators
can't remember
have the chance
what
to
other
work for a
games
while with this new
required that thing.
standard in one-to-one
That's the thing. There's a
motion
lot of Wii
control,
games I still need to
they'll
like go
certainly
play.
take you deeper than ever
and
before.
I can't really think right now like which ones.
We began our
required
presentation
it
today with
outside
a
of that.
single image in mind: smiling faces. And we believe there'll be a lot more of them when Wii Sports Resort launches globally next spring. But
That game
before
did
we
pretty
finish
big.
today,
That was a huge game
we
for the
want to
Wii. I think it
introduce
sold
you
extremely
to one
well.
more experience available this holiday.
I think it was like the
that
biggest
you'll
selling
all be
game
able to
on the
play
Wii.
with your current Wii remotes. It's safe to say it will generate a lot of smiles, new smiles, in a whole new way.
Oh no, I think I know what this is. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. Ravi Drums. God, there are so many jokes about this whole moment right here. Get it, Ravi. Trying to play Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. I love when it gets to the drum solo part. There it is.
Please welcome gamer legend
Ravi Drums.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
It's like Miyamoto. No. It's when you play the Mario music, it gets bad. It's like, oh. It feels so bad for Miyamoto. Every time he demos a game, something goes wrong. He deserves so much better. I just remember thinking like a really awkward demo. Well, at the time I was like, this seems all right. I only tried this thing 3 times. I remember a friend had this, and Best Buy had a demo kiosk set up with this thing running, so I tried it there.
Hello. This year,
I hope
I'd
to
like
see Miyamoto at
introduce
this
you
E3
to
again.
Wii
Hopefully he's got
music.
something he's working on.
The
It's been a little quiet on his front.
このゲームはね、Wii の企画を最初立ち上げたときに、Wii スポーツ それから Wii Play、Wii Fit と同時に計画したソフトですね。
This game is one of the titles that we began designing alongside Wii Play, Wii Sports, and Wii Fit when we were first finalizing our plans for Wii.
でリビングでこう家族みんなが年の差も性別も関係なく遊ぶにはやっぱり音楽は欠かせないと思うんですね。
Because if you want something that everyone in the family can enjoy together in the living room, regardless of age or gender, music is a must.
で Wii Music は過去にあるこう一般的な音楽ゲームとは全然違った遊びです。
But Wii Music is a slightly different play experience than you've seen with past music games.
で音楽ゲームは普通はこう画面に出てくる、形や記号にね合わせてこうボタンを押してそれで評価をしてもらうゲームが多いんですけども。
I want that Mario shirt.
Now, most music games typically
Actually, I want that whole
require
thing
you
he's
to press
rocking. I want
buttons
that
with
music
precise
shirt,
timing,
like that black
matching
shirt.
symbols on screen to earn points and compete for the
Rock that at
strongest
E3. I can let go.
で Wii Music ではこう楽器を弾けない人とか
I'm
楽譜が読め
cosplaying.
ない人
I'm
が
Miyamoto from the
音
Wii
楽を
Music
演奏する楽しみ
presentation
を
of
ね味わってもらうように
2008.
作りました。
But we've designed Wii Music to allow everyone, including people who can't read music and people who can't play real instruments, to experience the joy of performing music.
でこう曲を演奏するのにねあなたはこう、一生懸命こうガイドを追いかける必要はないんですね。
Now, there's no need to closely follow any musical notes or rhythm guides in order to play these songs.
で自分がこう音を鳴らしたいタイミングでこうその楽器に合わせた身振りをする。それだけで Wii の方が勝手に正しい音を鳴らしてくれます。
All that you have to do is hold the Wii remote and move your hands and your body like you would when playing a real instrument. And the Wii detects that and plays a note for you that matches the song.
でさっきの私の演奏もそうなんですけど僕はギターは弾くんですけどね、サックスは全く吹けません。
And that's how I was just performing for you. I can play guitar, but I cannot play the sax at all.
でこう僕がしていたのはこう Wii リモートをこう構えて
So remember
サッ
that
クス
thing
を
he
吹
was
いてる
playing
気
like
分
on
で
the
こ
Tonight
う
Show?
ボタ
He
ン
was
を好
playing
きなリズムで押して
Super
るんです
Mario.
ね。
So I was just holding the Wii remote,
Hey, look at me,
pretending
Miyamoto
like I was
on there.
playing the sax, and pressing the buttons with a timing of my preference.
で僕はどの音を吹こうかとかね、間違ったらどうしようかとかそういうことを全然心配せずに音楽を楽しみました。
They're really going
So
all
in this
in
way, I
on
don't have to
music.
worry about what do I do if I play the wrong note or if I make a mistake.
さっきこう F0 をイメージしてたんですね。
For those of you who are familiar, this song might sound a little bit familiar. It's from an F-Zero game.
でこのソフトではねこのサックスだけじゃなくて
Start playing
50種類を
the
超え
epic
る
sax guys.
いろんな楽器がその
Another
楽器に合
old
わせた
staple that
振りで弾ける
you're
ことが
never
でき
going to
ます
hear anymore.
In Wii Music, you're going to be able to play over 50 different instruments just by moving your body.
これピアノです。
So, for example, the piano.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
わけですね。
Just like that.
バイオリンはねちょっと凝ってるんですよ。
And the violin is a slightly more unique instrument. You hold the strings with your left hand, press the buttons to sound the
指でこうで
notes.
す。
And the bigness of the motion of your right hand adjusts the volume of those notes.
It's still pretty great seeing Miyamoto on a stage though. Like
ね
that is the one thing that is missing now with the
Of course, guitar you
directs.
play like you would
That
a
you
real
don't see
guitar.
Miyamoto like kind of talking about the games like this anymore. It's like he's kind of more behind the scenes now. I was like, man,
You can pluck.
フラット息
he needs to be there this E3.
こんな感じです。それから、パーカッションもあります。
There's a
I will say,
variety of
Wii music,
percussion
so it's
instruments
not.
as well.
I've not played too much. I can't say anything on it. It's not really my game. Miyamoto's selling it pretty well just himself. They didn't need Ravi Drums doing this. They just have Miyamoto go up on there and just do this stuff.
まあこんなねそれからさっき後ろでドラムを叩いてくれたのはプロのドラマーのラビーさんなんですけどもね。
And of course, behind me here, we have a professional drummer who's been performing for us this morning. His name is Ravi Drums.
で彼が今使ってるのはWii Fit のバランスWiiボードを使ったね、ドラムのフットペダルのついたフルセットです。シミュレーターです。
We paid him
What
an
he's playing is a
exposure.
separate mode that uses the Wii balance board to
He got
activate the drum
exposure all
pedals,
right.
creating a
He got
complete
exposed.
drum simulator.
レッスンがついてるのでね、本当に誰でも数週間でドラムが叩けるようになるという。
And this mode also includes lessons, which means that anybody, even you, can learn to play the drums in just a few weeks.
でラビさん昨日練習しただけでも随分とこう
I learned everything I learned on drums
Ravi only started
from
practicing just
Wii
yesterday,
music.
and as you can see, he's already gotten quite good.
Well, I can't say that because I played rock band drums. And
さて
actually, was,
覚えてられる方
that
もあ
was
ると思い
really
ますけど
important
も
to
2
my
年前に
fundamentals
僕は
learning
ここでオー
drums.
ケストラ
Like,
の指揮をしま
the
した。
backbone of me
I'm
getting
sure
good at
some here in the
drums was
audience this
rock
morning
band.
remember, but 2 years ago,
So
on
I
this stage,
can't laugh at
conducted an
Wii music
orchestra.
for saying, "Oh, you can learn drum stuff."
イン
Because
ターネッ
like,
ト
you
で
know
は
what, I
下手とか言われたんですけどね。
Many
I
of you
learned
on
a
the
lot of
internet
stuff
said I
from
was
rock band
pretty
drums.
bad.
でこのオーケストラのゲームもね、その他にこうハンドベルのゲームとか、それから音を当てるゲームとかいろんなゲームと一緒にこの Wii ミュージックの中に入っています。
So we've included in Wii Music both this orchestra game and some other modes, like a handbell choir and some note matching games as well.
だからさっき演奏を評価するゲームじゃないって言ったんですけども、逆にミュージックビデオが作れるんですね。
And while I said earlier, Wii Music isn't a game that's going to evaluate your performance, what it will do is record videos of your performances.
でこのモードではなんか一人でこう何役もこなした自分のミュージックビデオを作ることもできます。
And in fact, one player can play and record each individual part in a song and create their own unique music video.
じゃあそれでね、みんなで
If
今日は
anybody
演奏して
actually
みたい
did
と思い
that,
ます
there's like actual Wii
But since we have
music,
everyone here this morning, I thought it might be nice if we played a song for you.
music
6
videos,
人の編成バンド
or
の
like
4人で演
recreations.
奏
All
が
these
できま
people
す。
try to like
Now, the
recreate
bands
some
have
like
6
really hard
different
stuff
parts,
on
but
there.
you play with up to 4 players simultaneously.
それから今日は特別にダビーさんのドラムも入ってもらいましょう。
And for our special
That'd be
presentation this morning, Ravi will join us on the drums.
じゃあジャムの紹介をしてください。
Joining in the band will be Nintendo of America's Vice President of Corporate Affairs, Ms. Denise Kegler, on the marimba.
Oh man, this part. I feel so
Along
bad
with
for
our
Miyamoto.
all-star treehouse horn section.
This part really didn't help sell this game. I was like, oh, this
Everybody ready?
isn't helping.
ですか。僕は何にしようかな。僕はカウベルしか残ってないです。
Looks like all that's left for me is the cowbell.
じゃあ行きますね。
How you gonna do Miyamoto like that? Give him cowbell.
All right. Bring the house down, guys.
Oh boy. Like that guy all the way on the left. That's a fair guy. That guy's really getting into it. It doesn't sound. I always think in like cool snort snippets. Doesn't sound too bad, but it's just. Okay, never mind. I spoke too soon. Ravi's like, God, what's going on over here? Miyamoto's like, I'm firing all of you after this. That's how it should be. Hey. Miyamoto's still the one that came out the best in that sequence.
What we've tried to do today, as Mr. Iwata said, is to look forward to a place where gamers are more engaged, more enriched, and even more enthused in their experiences.
Consider the possibilities. Snowboarding on the Wii balance board, yes, without injuring yourself. Using Wii Speak to talk live worldwide with friends as they arrive electronically in your Animal Crossing. Even using the new Wii Motion Plus as a sword to help your boss feel better about himself. There's no question
really was all the
that
conference.
games can and
That was
will
really-
engage us in new and more compelling ways. And there is only one place where high-profile games like Guitar Hero, Star Wars, Rayman, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty, and Spore can be found right alongside unique franchises like Pokemon,
I was gonna say,
Animal
it's like,
Crossing,
you're
and now
listing out some pretty
Wii Sports Resort
weird stuff, because like
and
Guitar
Wii
Hero, like, all those
Music.
games you mentioned for at least half of them
Nintendo
are on
simply
other
brings
systems.
more smiles
and sometimes in better
to more
forms.
faces.
But that was Tobey Maguire.
To conclude, let's be honest. From the minute that DS launched, almost from the moment that we went on sale, we've all heard the same word, fad. Well, that was never a fact, even if it was a real hope for some people. I'm here today to tell you that fad is no longer operable.
Fad is rad.
It's inevitable. When the paradigm shifts, imitation is just around the corner.
Damn, Reggie knew.
The only way to preserve your advantage
Because Sony
is
did the
to create
PlayStation moves like 2 years
new
later.
advantages.
No, like next year after this.
If you positively disrupted an entertainment
So I wonder where they got the
industry
idea for that.
so well that both
Motion
current
control wand?
and new consumers all say, yeah, I like that. Then the next challenge is to disrupt your own thinking. The fact is that Mr. Iwata and Mr. Miyamoto have built a company in perpetual pursuit of that one thing, the next advantage. Not just the evolution in look, but the revolution in feel. This week, you'll feel the next steps as Nintendo builds the next advantage to keep you smiling. Thanks for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you over the next few days.
Reggie was kind of right, like the invitation, because Sony did it with the PlayStation Move, and you see Sony in 2009 with Project and Tall doing the motion control thing, which actually maybe. Okay, I already got my next conference for next year. If I want to be watching them, we might have to go 2009 and watch that conference, because I see the Nintendo one is already there on YouTube, but man, like the Project and its Hall reveal, which was all smoke and mirrors at that point, and Sony with the PlayStation Move getting revealed as well, I believe. 2009 was a little weird year, so we gotta see. But yeah, that was Nintendo E3 2010. That was their showing, and it was, I don't know. This was still, you know what? Not a good showing from E3. I still will say it's one of their worst. It's just a boring show overall. And it wasn't a good direction to go into. And I think they changed up that next year after that. Because I feel like they went they really did want to appeal to like more audiences. Like we're going for maybe like more casual side, which they still kept through. But I think just they started off wrong with Shaun White snowboarding. That whole sequence just what was not a good fit for the start of a conference. You gotta start with some heat. You gotta start with something really to bring energy up and to set the tone of the conference. And 2010 they did that. They opened up with Skyward Sword, which is like that's the best opening you could possibly go for a showing. Like, you gotta start strong, and they started off really weak and they kind of ended weak too. No offense to Miyamoto, but Wii Music, that presentation was not good. Outside of him showing instruments, like that was about it. But like Ravi Drums section was pretty embarrassing. And then playing the Mario stuff with like the guy on the side, like, it wasn't a good showing. And even throughout, like even this isn't even Reggie's best. Like, 'cause it was just very slow and boring. Just them talking about sales and how the Wii sales are going to be high, and how the DS sales are going to be high. And how the market share shows that this percentage of people play games, and this share shows this people play. Like, it's really the stuff you really do not want. But not even getting off that, just talking about like Nintendo that year, what they had in store. They didn't have much of anything in 2008 from the looks of it. Because really the only game like there, like Animal Crossing seemed to be like the ones like, you know what, Animal Crossing, that's fine, but they don't have any big hits. And they kind of mentioned it in the thing where it's like, all right, we're gonna try and get the bigger games out right now. Like we already released it when the Wii came out. We had to start out strong to keep our longtime fans satisfied, but this is that kind of point where like they didn't have much to show, so it was just kind of quiet. Like I feel like 2009 was probably a better year. I can't remember what was shown off in that one, but just thinking of that year, what kind of came out or what games they could show, I feel they had more. I know 2010 from watching that one, they actually had a lot of good reveals because of course Skyward Sword, they revealed it wasn't the first reveal for 3DS. No, but it was Skyward Sword, and they had Donkey Kong Country Returns. So they had a lot of good stuff that year. So yeah, this wasn't Nintendo's strongest. It's still their worst, probably. I'd say this is like their E3 2006 Sony moment, because this is a very, very painful show. And I don't know where Karen, I forgot what her name is, where Karen is now, but like I wonder if she still is like the marketing person for Nintendo or the executive, whatever her position was. Like, I snowboard, so I'm gonna have Shaun White come on stage. Like that right there. Like Nintendo shouldn't have done that. Like that's not a Nintendo thing. They don't bring out the actors to say, well, you know, I love playing Nintendo games. I love them. You know, like that's Microsoft. They bring out The Rock to reveal their games, or they get some sports guy. Like I don't want that. But you know what I will say is, like, looking back, especially watching that Nintendo Direct, Nintendo made the right choice going for that approach. I think that was the best approach they could have gone, because I think it works out better in their end. Just being able to just say, hey, here are the games. All the fat is just gone. It's just snappy and to the point. That's what I love about the Directs. And watching these now really solidify it. Because you watch these Nintendo E3 showings and even the Directs, everything is snappy and to the point where it's just like, all right, here's a game. 2-3 minutes, boom, another game. Boom, boom, boom. It's just right onto it. There's none of the kind of back and forth of, oh, well, you know, the sales and the numbers and, you know, these are the experiences that we want to give people. It's like, that's the stuff where it doesn't work out in their favor. So it's good to see them doing this now. And that, you know, every time they do an E3 showing, I'm very excited for it, because they always got stuff to show, and generally they do a good job. So with that, I believe it's time to draw a close. So that is going to conclude this year's pre-E3 extravaganza. And you know, this was a pretty fun one this time as well. Just being able to watch the Sony showing was very fun. The Microsoft one, it was fun, but it was definitely it got a little slowed sometimes, but it wasn't that bad. And then you have, of course, Nintendo 2013, which was actually a pretty good year. The Smash reveal and a few other stuff. And you know, watching this one is definitely a good reflection. It was very boring to watch this one, but it's kind of like a good reflection, is to say, look how far we've come from this bad conference to like A+ ones. So yeah, E3 2019 is vastly approaching. As of this recording, it is like 1 week away. So we're approaching very soon, and I'm going to be watching everything E3 related. So hope you join me for that as well, because it should be a doozy this year. There's gonna be some stuff this E3 that should be interesting, to say the least. So yeah, that is gonna be it for me here. So thank you very much for watching and joining me for this series. Until next year, I'm John, and E3 is still pretty great. Well, sometimes.